The air around a bolt of lightning heats to roughly 30,000 degrees. That's about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And the process that causes it starts with something nobody can see. Something building inside the cloud for almost a full second before the flash. Nobody understood what it was until very recently. For centuries, we thought we had the answer. We knew it was electrical. Benjamin Franklin proved that in the 1700s. He flew a kite into a thunderstorm and drew electricity down through a metal key. That told us what lightning was made of. It said nothing about what made it strike when it did. The standard explanation goes like this. Opposite charges build up between the cloud and the ground. When the difference gets large enough, electricity fires. That part is mostly true. But it doesn't tell you what actually pulls the trigger. Scientists couldn't pin that down for 2.5 centuries. Inside a storm cloud, a kind of war between charges is underway. Positively charged particles drift upward toward the top of the cloud. Negatively charged particles, electrons, push downward toward the cloud's base. The bottom of the cloud grows heavily negative. The ground below mirrors it, going positive in response. An invisible pushing force stretches between them, growing stronger every second. Scientists have understood this much about storm clouds for a very long time. It still didn't explain what finally pulled the switch. This is where the mystery actually lived for all those years. That invisible pushing force between cloud and ground doesn't just sit there passively. It starts accelerating free electrons, tiny particles already present in the atmosphere. It pushes them faster and faster to enormous speeds. Those electrons then slam into the gas molecules around them. Nitrogen, oxygen, the ordinary air you're breathing right now. Those collisions release enormous energy. And something entirely unexpected comes out of each one. When a fast-moving electron hits an air molecule, the impact releases a burst of X-rays. Invisible, high-energy radiation, the same kind used in medical scanners. Created here by nothing more than ordinary air molecules being hit at very high speed. On its own, that would be strange enough. Those X-rays don't simply fade out when they form. They travel outward and hit other nearby molecules. They knock loose more electrons from those molecules. Those freed electrons accelerate in the same pushing force. They slam into more molecules, releasing more X-rays. More X-rays means more electrons knocked free. More electrons, more collisions. More collisions produce more X-rays. The whole process compounds on itself, running faster and faster. An invisible chain reaction, accelerating toward a single threshold inside the cloud. That chain reaction is the trigger. Professor Victor Pascoe at Penn State led the team that modeled exactly how this cascade works. His doctoral researcher, Zaid Parvez, did the math. Their findings were published in a major science journal. Lightning isn't a single sudden event. It's the final exhale of a long, invisible build happening inside the cloud. When the cascade reaches its threshold, something finally starts to form. A channel of electrically charged air begins pushing down from the cloud. It descends in short, jagged, invisible steps. Scientists call this the stepped leader, an invisible arm reaching down toward the ground. You can't see any of it. Most people standing nearby have no idea it's there. At the same time, something different is forming below. Positive charge starts reaching upward from the ground. It gravitates toward the tallest object in the area. A tree, a building, a person standing in a field. If you were close enough to strike, your body would feel it. Your hair would stand on end. Your skin would tingle, especially in your hands and feet. The air itself would fill with a crackling static energy. That's your body detecting the upward charge forming around you. The stepped leader descends in its invisible jumps. The upward charge rises to meet it. The moment they connect, the circuit closes. What most people picture as lightning, the bright visible flash, isn't what comes down. The visible bolt fires upward. From the ground to the cloud, at roughly 1/3 the speed of light. The air in its path isn't gradually heated. It's superheated instantly. To roughly 30,000 degrees, about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The entire sequence, from first X-ray cascade to completed strike, takes under a second. 250 years to explain it. Less than 1 second to happen. There's still one thing that remains unsolved. The mechanism is understood, but predicting when a specific storm will strike isn't. The trigger is understood, the timing isn't. But there's one more layer to this story. Sometimes the X-ray cascade inside the cloud builds all the way to the threshold, and no visible bolt ever forms. No visible flash, no thunder at all. Just invisible radiation, discharged silently upward into space. Scientists call this dark lightning. Space telescopes have detected it coming from storm clouds that appeared completely quiet from below. The cascade fired and ran its full course. The bolt just never came. You've always watched the bolt, but the bolt is just the ending. The last exhale of something that began invisible, deep inside the cloud. Every flash you've ever seen had a cascade building before it. The spectacle isn't the event. The event was already over. See you in the next one.